Carol asked that this be put on the agenda, and so I'm not over to you.
Well, after the action that the council took on the 18th of January, there's a lot of concerns, a lot of questions. And as we thought, we ought to have the fire and EMS come and ask any questions or all questions you want. What I'd like to do is maybe have an open discussion if you want, and then go into your executive session so you get more pointed and do some name calling, I guess, if you want to, whatever. So with that, I'd like to just open it up to questions. There was the rumor out that we was going to start laying people off, and that's by far from the truth. We're not going to lay anybody off. That wasn't the intent to take anybody's job. It was try to define, we'd always trying to do is define the responsibility to make it run a little smoother. But that's not an easy task. So we'd like your input, your thoughts on it. So if we have to go back and look at it again and make some, as this resolution and ordinance, it can be amended as needed. And if we have to amend it, we will certainly amend it to make it work for everybody. So any questions or any comments you'd like to make? Claire, you look like you're ready to talk.
Do you want me to come to the podium?
Would you please state your name for the record, sir?
Yes, sir. Claire Provost. I'm the EMS director, and I'm proud to be who you are. Thank you for allowing us this forum to visit with you. I think this is a step in the right direction. But yeah, Steve, you're right. Councilman Farrell, there's been some concerns, some questions that I think that some people have. This, I would like to preface this by saying this is not an opportunity for fire and EMS to roast the council, our county manager, anyone else. This is an opportunity to be a venue to ask questions, and not necessarily just in connection with the ordinances that was passed. I think moving forward, there's some questions about what's going to take place with fire and EMS. I think we're growing to the point, and I've spoke with a lot of you about that fact. Year by year, our call volumes increase, fire and EMS. And I want to tell you that these people right here are some of the finest people you'll ever meet. And I mean that sincerely, and I think I speak for the chief about that. I have a great passion, as does Chief Giles, for these people, and a love for them and for what they do. And truly, they put their life on the line, oftentimes, for the citizens of this community. And I take my hat off to them for what they do. We work with law enforcement and emergency services, and I think it's key that the group of us work together to accomplish a common goal. So with that being said, I hope that these individuals, those who may have questions, know that this just isn't in reference to those ordinances, although there may be some questions there. But I want this discussion to be a civil discussion and an opportunity to ask those questions. And then, can I say to you as a council, thank you for your support, because I had a discussion with Councilman Nelson yesterday. It's Mark. And part of that discussion that we had was that even though you're our boss and Mike is our boss, you may not know exactly what we do and how the job really lays out. And so hopefully going forward in the future, we can help you understand a little bit more about that. I also told Councilman Nelson that I'd like to see if we couldn't get a pager for each one of you and just give you a feel for what's going on out there in the community, because we're busy. We're wearing our part-time people out, and moving forward, hopefully we can find a way to transition into this next phase of fire and EMS. And the only caveat with giving that pager is you can't ever turn it off. You have to leave it on 24/7 at night, during your church services, during your birthday party, during whatever it is you do at any time. So with that being said, that may be something you want to do and something you don't want to do, but if that's something that you'd like to do, I'll see that it happens.
We got money in the budget for that.
You know what? We'll see if we can get a grant.
Okay.
Well, we do have scanners. Is there somewhere we can pull up the frequencies? I've tried that from time to time to try and find your frequency so we can listen in.
I'm sure we can arrange that. With that being said, thank you for your support. And Ernie, I don't know if you want to make a comment before they go ahead, but these are the greatest people in this county, in my opinion. I love them.
Thank you. I think this is a work meeting. We may not need everyone to come up to the front if you're not as comfortable with that, but if you want to stand or tell us your name, some of us may or may not know you. So if you want to do that, that'd be great. I don't think you necessarily need to come to the podium. If you'd like to, that'd be great too.
Good evening. I'm Nick Lopez. I'm a resident in Heber City. I just, first of all, I'd like to thank, I don't know which members of this department responded to the car accident a week or so ago up by Strawberry for that dignified extrication of one of my crew members in Salt Lake City. I just want to say thank you for that response and just that. I have a great deal of respect for you gentlemen. I've got 23 years with the fire service, and the respect and the brotherhood that we have here is amazing. What I would like to say to the council is I have some concerns. And to the chief, and I've kind of talked to the chief a little here and there about it. Kind of brought it up when I was campaigning. My concerns for this county and for fire service, I think encompasses probably everybody in this room. The county has outgrown, and please accept this as a sincerity, the county's outgrown the paid on-call part-time department. And we're going to have to find some type of money or funding to get some full-time department members 24/7 at all the stations. At whatever level that they need, whether it's a 3-handed unit or a 4-handed unit, the public needs that, they expect that. They don't understand that there's not a full-time guy at every station all the time, 24/7. This would reduce response times, it would save lives, it would save property, and that's what these guys are in here doing. They need to be properly budgeted. And I know that there's money there for certain things, and there's money not there for certain things. I watched the fire, and it's the only one I've watched with these guys ever fought up here. It was on, I think, December 3rd. And I had concerns. I was coming back from breakfast and I happened to see the fire, so I pulled over and I got out and I watched these guys work. My concerns immediately were, where's the turnouts? And I asked a couple guys, and they were kind of busy, and it was towards the end of the fire, where's your SCBAs? And because what I was seeing there was half the gentlemen that were responding without the proper equipment, without enough SCBAs for everybody to have one go in and out. I watched firefighters go in and out of that house in civilian attire, in hoodies and ball caps, while the fire was in active mode. This causes a great deal of concern for me. As a citizen, and not a firefighter, as a citizen, I expect when they roll in that they're properly equipped, properly trained, professionally led, and their safety is paramount, let alone the people that they show up to, they arrive to save. And I didn't see that at that fire. So my questions are, is there enough money to provide everybody with the proper equipment? Is there enough SCBAs? Is there enough apparatus, structural firefighting apparatus showing up that has the SCBAs on it? I just didn't see that there. It was almost appalling to watch these guys work, and I don't know if it's a funding issue. I know that there is training requirements, and I don't know how the chief works it as far as bringing guys back on call and paying them to train. But this is where the full-time department would come in. These gentlemen need the training. They need the training hours. They need the experience. They need the money and the funding. And I just ask you as a council, as a fire board, to consider what they must do with the little things they do have. So my support is for you guys. My concerns are for you guys. The products of combustion is killing guys long after they retire. And I just think that there's a lot of failures in what I saw at that fire, both on the fire guy's side, from the youngest guy to the oldest guy. And then I start looking, well, maybe they just don't have those items. So I hope they have those items, I hope they're getting those items, and you will continue to support them as much as you can. And the citizens deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief, don't we purchase turnout equipment for every fireman we have? What they want? Is the CBA something different than that?
It's oxygen. Right.
There's not one for every fireman.
Okay. Next.
I'm Rick Meekum. I work for Wasatch County Fire District as a firefighter EMT, and I also work for Wasatch County as a EMT volunteer. So I feel obligated to speak today because for some reason I got the blame for us being invited. Don't know how that happened. I'll tell you, working for Claire and Ernie's kind of like working with sugar and spice. Claire's way too nice. Ernie's going to give us a browbeating, and that's what I got yesterday morning. So it wasn't that bad. But I do have some
We're glad,
concerns.
for whatever reason, we're glad you're here, all of you.
Well, yeah, and I'm quite the public speaker, so we might be here a while.
If he talks more than 3 minutes, he's get a ball.
It's not church.
I
This
will
is
get
not
emotional if I bear my testimony.
I'll stop you. If you start there, I'm going to stop you.
Appreciate you. So, no, I did have some concerns, and I talked to Claire about them, and I think that's where this all kind of come about. But one of the things that I was concerned about, and I feel, way too late because a lot of these things have already been voted on and seem like they're going to be put in place. But the one of them was the resolution defining the separation of duties between the building department and the fire district. I also forgot to mention I'm a builder as well. Been in Wasatch County building since 1991. So been here a long time. I've seen a lot of changes. There's been changes in building codes that have increased the cost of building a home, and then also the cost of putting fire sprinklers into a home is raised the cost as well. But my main concern as a builder with this resolution is the fact that years ago there was a fire marshal hired to take care of these duties, which he has been doing very well, I might add. And for me as a builder, everything has went super smooth. The reviews on the plans have been quick, and the inspections have been promptly done and not caused me any delay on my final inspections. At the same time, he's kind of been a pain in the butt because he does change things for the better. When he sees a problem, there's a change made and a change in the inspection. So I'm sad to see that this is going to the building department for a couple of reasons. And I love those guys, don't get me wrong, I wish they were still here. But here I go, Spencer. Getting emotional already. 3 minutes.
Think of something
I'll
different.
think so. But I think they got their hands full. I struggled to get a building permit in a timely manner. And some of that may be on my end. I'm not going to say it's all their fault, but 3-4 months to get a building permit is unacceptable. So something needs to be done about that. I also work in Summit County. Over there I can generally get a permit within a month. And also Summit County, and I apologize for comparing, but Summit County, the way they handle their fire duties over there was what we were doing, and it works very well. So that's one of them. told you, Spencer, I'm going to be up here for a while. If anybody wants to cut me off, feel free.
How many items you got?
I've got a few, but I'll hurry.
We're good. That's why we're here.
The other item that I was concerned about was, and I'm going to say Brighton Estates because that's just to compare. But basically, it was the subdivisions that were adopted or platted and approved before 1980. You know, we're making concessions on fire protection, I feel, fire flows, those sort of things. That worries me. And I know why Ernie fought so hard for it, because he wants to protect us. And, you know, I'm getting old enough that I was on the first Cascade Springs fire, okay, and several of the others here. But one of the most scary situations I've ever been in. We lost 2 firefighters. We're lucky we didn't lose more. Never want to see that happen again. So I hope that when these votes are being taken, that we're not taking them, we're not making decisions based on whether we're mad at Chief Giles. I'm mad at Chief Giles about every other training meeting. He likes to single me out. I think. If you don't know, I'm his brother-in-law, so I think he likes to keep me in place. The other thing I think that's important, and I kind of went back and forth on this as a builder, quite honestly, because it does cost money to my clients, but the fire sprinklers. And I think if you guys will spend the time to go through and research this, you may have a change of heart as well. So, you know, I used to be, you know, fire sprinklers aren't always needed. Maybe I don't need them in my own personal house. And then you start responding to these fires and you see how they work and how they protect lives. I've also seen water damage. You know, let's not skirt around that. They will freeze. The ones that I've seen that have frozen basically have not been insulated properly, and that's the reason why they've frozen. As a builder, it scares me a bit that we don't have the antifreeze in the system anymore, and I hope that one day it'll get back in a safe way. I know the reason it was taken out was because there was some issues with the flammability of the glycol, the antifreeze. So, just quickly, I want to just run through. You can find these on these are NFPA's fire sprinkler initiatives. You know, obviously, smoke alarms are invaluable. They're gonna save some lives. But the fire sprinklers, you know, the fire smoke alarms aren't going to suppress the fire whatsoever, and but they will audibly, you know, warn the occupants that there's a fire or smoke in the home. Just going to read these because they can say it a lot better than I can. But so smoke alarms aren't enough. Home fire sprinklers, in coordination with smoke alarms, have been proven to protect lives and property against fire. In fact, sprinklers cut the risk of dying in a home fire by an astounding 80%. Home fires are a major problem in North America. Fire in the home poses a significant threat to the people of your community. On an average, and I think these numbers have actually went up. This was done in, I think, 2014. On an average, 2,500 people each year are dying in U.S. home fires, further showcasing the enormity of this problem. Is that roughly 80% of all fire deaths are the result of home fires. Sprinklers save lives. You know, that's well documented. These devices can reduce the average property loss per home by 70%. I think it was 2 Saturdays ago, we had a fire up in Timberlakes, way at the top, Violet Way and Blue Spruce, I think it was. Our crew responded initially. It was about 9:30 on a Sunday morning. And I'm sure you're all familiar with Timberlakes, but the roads are not good. And even though they were cleared well, they were straight ice. Me and one of my partners was in a fast attack truck, which, you know, that's taboo. You don't take a fast attack truck to a structure fire. You're not going to do any good with it. But our thought process was, you know, the only thing we can do is get there, see what's going on, see what resources we can get here. We get there, we've got 2 other engines, 2 other apparatus. One's, I don't know what year it is, Ernie, but I tried to put it in Deer Creek years ago and you wouldn't let me. Same problem with it on this fire, just couldn't get it to operate correctly. And then the other pumper that was on the fire eventually was Jordanelle engine 2. But we didn't have adequate fire flow out of the hydrants. And so, not a worse feeling for me in the world. We've got firefighters in PPE, SCBA, ready to fight the fire as we are trained. Let me just go back a little bit. When we arrive, you know, it's the B-side's fully engulfed. I mean, it's breached the roof and it's cooking. It's a log home, so, you know, as a builder and a firefighter, you know that the heavy timber, you know, that's something we can try and salvage and save. With the light construction, you're not going to. And then that's what happened to this particular cabin. It was a trussed roof. And long story short, we stood there and done what we could with a limited amount of water. My thoughts, and I'm not representing the fire department or EMS, this is my thoughts. If that structure would have been protected with fire sprinklers, it either would have slowed it down enough that we may have saved the structure with the resources we had, or it may have put the fire out. So I know there's been some talk of type A construction. As a builder, I'm not big on that.
I'm sorry, can you tell me why?
Yeah, I will, because it's not just 5/8 sheetrock that we're talking about. I mean, there's several other things. I mean, you've got your electrical box penetrations, you've got your doors, your door jambs. There's a lot of components. I'm not convinced that it's going to be cheaper than putting fire sprinklers in. Fire sprinklers, on an average, cost 1% of the total cost of construction of that home. And if you want to see those numbers as a fact, it's even less than that. I'm getting ready to start a home in Park City in Glen Wild. Bid on it was, for fire sprinklers, was $11,500. This home is over $2 million. Okay, so I'm sure it's going to get a little more on a smaller home, but it was in one of your ordinances. It was stated that you know, the wildland urban interface ordinance may work as a hardship for some county residents. Not sure I'm buying that. Where it's, you got the public safety we're dealing with, and we got the firefighter safety as well. You know, 1%. That's not a whole lot.
Is it that RA construction is not adequate in your opinion, or is it that it's not applied?
I personally, as a builder, would not want to do it that way. I mean, you're dealing with wider door jambs. There's a multitude of things that you're dealing with. And then again, I think, you know, I don't think it's going to save you any money cost-wise. When you factor in all those things. If it was just 5/8 drywall, maybe. But you start putting in all those other components, and I don't think it is.
So even if all those other components are put in at RA construction level, you still don't think they're adequate?
Well, I think they're adequate. I think the fire sprinklers are a better way to go, because you've got your furniture and everything, your contents in the building, okay, and you got all that fuel load in there, and when the sprinkler pops, you know, it's trying to put out the fire. If you don't have the sprinklers, nothing's trying to put out the fire, and then you're just hoping that your type A construction contains it. So that's just a personal opinion of mine. Mike's a builder. He may think totally opposite. He may want the type A construction. So, but that would be my biggest thing, is you're not attempting to put out the content, the fuel load. So I'm going to leave it at that, because I've been up here way too long, and I thank you for listening.
On that fire in Timberlakes, you say they didn't have adequate water.
True.
I mean, we just spent one hell of a lot of money to put a new water system in there. We should have had adequate water.
I've heard that twice. I've heard that from the building department and now from you. The fact of the matter is there was not enough water coming out of that hydrant. I do not know why.
Was that a winter problem possibly?
Shouldn't have been.
I know it shouldn't have been, but
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. All I know is we did not have an adequate amount of water.
Because there should have been water there on that new system.
Well, and I talked to Robert about it, and he expressed the same thing, you know. And I'm not that familiar with the water system. I don't know where the tanks are, but he said the tanks are plenty high. We should have had plenty of water.
should have had all kinds of pressure.
You know, obviously we were uphill from the hydrant, and you're going to get some pressure drop, a little less than was it a half pound per foot? Somebody help me with that.
you're right.
So, you know, we're getting the pressure drop. Thank you. Use that. And friction loss. So there's a lot of things that come into play when you're running from a hydrant that's downhill. Was there one uphill? You know, who knows? There was 7 feet of snow.
Anybody have any idea how much pressure was there?
I do not.
We never got more than 20 suction, 15 to 20.
Pounds?
By the time we got it to where we were. And we ran LDH hose in the beginning to minimize friction loss. Then it was good.
Basically, we had to fill the tank and then run off the tank because we would have sucked their lines or collapsed their lines if we just relied on pulling from the hydrant.
I've got a comment as well. Does anybody inspect these systems from time to time? I was in a meeting this week and we talked about the Allen Sweat Barn that burned down, caught on fire, and the water system. They went and checked the tank, and there was barely any water in the storage tank. So you guys did a wonderful job by jumping over to Twin Creeks and hooking onto this fire hydrant across the street, pressurizing the system, got your water. So it was nice to have 2 different systems that way. But is there anybody that goes around and checks to make sure that these tanks have water in case we run into something like that? We have to delete other systems, you know, the one Timberlakes and several others. Is there anybody going around inspecting to make sure that they're ready for a fire?
It comes from the water department.
Be the owners of the systems. Because every system is going to be owned by a different person.
They are, but I wondered if there would be just an individual in the county that would go around and check those.
Chief, don't you check?
Periodically. This county's so big, we just don't have the manpower to get all of them checked. So we rely on the water companies to try to do it.
Okay, so we sit on those boards, and we can make that an agenda item possibly to talk about. And let's make sure that these systems are up, have adequate water supply, so you've got pressure as well.
That's really a good
Running like
advantage.
they were designed to run.
Right.
A good advantage of checking, as we talked about earlier in the code, check every line. Because I know Clint does it, and he's found several that the valve has been partially off, or somebody's worked on the main line, cracked the line to charge it, and never went back to open the line. So I think it's very important that we stick with those, so we don't wind up with